everyone. Welcome to the show. This is Joycelyn Linton coming into the higher calling, and today's date is the 14th, 06 2016, and the time now is 10:15. And I'm saying no. Linton's track. So welcome to the show, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about myself because I've been trying to record from quite early this morning from 7, and all sorts of issues has been coming up at me. So I'm going to have to try and reschedule this in another way. Usually I have www.blogtalkradio.com / coming into the high calling. So I've got both platforms working at the same time. And I was just having some issue here. And anyhow, I'm going to just start off with a little tune here. And then we'll carry on with the show. It's called Precious Lord, Take My Hands. And it's all taken from the YouTube here. Yes, precious Lord, take my hands and lead me home. And I can tell you that's how I felt this morning, as I've been trying to start the show. And as I was trying to start the show, and one day at a time. there at the time. So, yes, so I'll just reintroduce myself. I'm Joycelyn Linton, and I'm registered as coming into the higher calling. And I always start off with numbers, and I'm saying the number on the screen here is 1406-2016, and the time now is 10:20 British Standard Time, AM in the morning, or AM. And I have been here since like 7, trying to start up. And I like to work with the two platforms, blogtalkradio.com slash coming into the higher calling, as well as working with speaker.com slash Joycelyn Linton's tracks. And the reason being is that, if one fails me, or if one, I wouldn't say the word fail, but if one doesn't seem to be connecting, then at least I've got the other one, and I've learned that. So here I am. I'm on speaker.com right now, and hopefully later on I can upload Blog Talk Radio, so the consistency of the talk. And I want to continue my study on Jeremiah, and the main theme which I've been doing over the past few months is woe be unto the pastors that destroy woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture, says the Lord. And so that has been the main theme for a good while now, for several months, maybe 9 months or so. However, I tend to jot into different parts of Jeremiah, and as I start to speak, how I intend the talk to go, it seems like it's taken over and gone in another direction. And so what I write in the summary doesn't always link up with what actually is coming out. However, this morning I felt very sensitive when I saw that I wasn't connecting on Blog Talk Radio, and whether my suspicion was right, or I'm just oversensitive these days. I find if I notify beforehand that I'm about to go on air, I'm about to podcast, then I do have all sorts of issues on connecting. But if I do not notify and I just go on air, I get a smooth transition, a smooth connection. So this morning I can say that I feel a little bit sensitive, maybe a slight paranoidal has come in on me. So here we go. So as I'm speaking now, I think the Lord's going to kind of just leave me here to talk. I feel that I'm left on my own. Usually as I talk, the Lord will spring forth with His word. So I'm going to reintroduce myself and just explain something about who I am. And I ask that you'll bear with me right now. So I am Joycelyn Linton, and I've registered myself with a trademark as coming into the higher calling. I do have some blog sites that I have to revamp, because I changed the host on I am, and my data didn't transform as well as I was hoping. So I have joycelynlinton.com, that's the WordPress, and I was hoping to do all my prophetic posting on the WordPress and make it be the main core of who I am. And Facebook was just the beginning of this prophetic calling on me, because it was the Lord who directed me to the Facebook and caused me to begin to write. And how it started was in September 2012. I had no intention to be a part of the Facebook crowd, and it was I was with a prophetic group at the time, and the leader invited us all to go on to Facebook, so that we can connect with each other as well as with himself. So that's how I really got onto Facebook, but I didn't have any intention of being a part of that world, because the work that I was doing in the health service was very consuming on me, and I had another project that I wanted to work with, But and I was preparing myself for it. But I heard the Lord say, pray to me about using the Facebook space, because I was looking at it and people weren't really saying much. They were posting some pictures, but not much was being said, and I found it very bland. Um, I said, Lord, something, we need to be saying something on the Facebook here. And he said, pray to me. I heard, pray to me, so I prayed. And then 2 weeks later, I found I began to flow with words. And that was pleasing to me, because I was doing quite a lot of writing some years before that, on the hour, every hour, on the day, and then I stopped from doing it, and it seemed like I lost the track, the trail of that type of writing. So I prayed and asked the Lord to return it, and He has. So I can sit down any time, and I could really write. So, but I began to write a story called The Cinderella Effect, and I was talking about Mother Earth being cinders, and she was going to go up for her Star Awards, and the other planets, and I was referring to the story of the book in the first book of Kings, and relating it around King Solomon. So I was saying that the other stars or planets out there, they were like the jealous auntie, the jealous stepmother, and jealous stepsisters, and they were subjecting Mother Earth under a lot of adverse forces on her. And so Mother Earth, and of course all her dwellers, were subjected to jealous forces. And because secretly she was, she had a higher pedigree, a higher stature than themselves. And she was omniscient, full of knowledge, you see. But the Lord had kind of had her like a hidden gem. So, but she kept her loyalty with the Lord, and now, and with the heavens, and she provided for all her dwellers, irrespective of what was taking place. So she was coming up now for a Star Awards, you see, and now the subjection was coming even heavier. And so at the time I was relating it to King Solomon, the Queen of Sheba, and all the other planets. So we'd have to track back to the very early writing. But I found as I wrote, um, the as I wrote a storyline each day, and I'm saying as I wrote, all I did was tap my fingers on the keyboard. Can I tell you this? I tapped my fingers on the keyboard, and the words began to flow. And as the words flow, and I paid attention to the news, the situation took place. I began to become quite nervous over this, and in speaking to my family members, they said, "You heard, you're typing, you're writing what you're hearing in the heavens." I said, "Oh, that's good." So, and I've realized that I do have a hearing range, a spiritual hearing range, above majority of the people. There are a few of us, I've come to learn, who has that hearing range, and it's also known as the sixth sense, and having high intuition. It's also known as being enlightened, and enlightened means aware of the heavens and the spirituality of the heavens. Um, the sixth sense, again, it means having that spiritual sense and going further into knowledge than most people. So at times you can see a person, not consciously, but another part of you can go deeper in about the person, and you find that when you're speaking to them, they're wondering, well, how do you know all these things? Well, it's not that you know it, you don't know it, but a part of you is just speaking it. And then the Lord causes you to help that person resolve what is bothering them. So now the Lord is using, I find the Lord is beginning to use me as as a messenger. And I ask you to bear with the phone there. So